Hello everyone, my name is Aaron and welcome to my tutorial. Today's tutorial is going to be based on classes and objects, and we're going to be using Java to program in. So what I've done here, I've created a Word document and I have a picture of a car. I've analyzed this car and found some properties and a method that I can use to create our object. I recommend that you do things like this every day in life. Pretty much anything you see on the street, walking around, in your home, you can turn into an object, and it's really fun. It's a cool way of thinking. It'll get you thinking in an object-oriented way and help you make programs later on as your programming career advances. So let's go ahead and start. We have here a Honda Accord. It has 2 doors and it can accelerate. Now I also encourage you to take this class that we build and add on to it. It'll give you more practice and help you get a better understanding of classes and objects in Java. Let's start up Eclipse. We're going to do File, New Java Project. And name it Car Class. Once we have the project, we're going to add a class to it. So File, New Class, or right click and then New Class. We will call it Car. Okay, I went ahead and added a main for us here. We're not going to need a main. We will have a different class for our main. So for now, let's start out by adding our data members that we thought about earlier in the Word document. So there's going to be a brand, and that's going to be a string. We're going to have a model. That's also going to be a string. We're going to have a number of doors. Now notice how I made these private. The reason that I made these private is because we're going to demonstrate a concept of object-oriented programming known as encapsulation. Basically what encapsulation means is that it's going to keep everything hidden from the other classes. Oh, we forgot a R here. There we go. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a default constructor. A default constructor is a constructor that takes no arguments. Also, remember when creating your constructors that they need to have the same name as your class. Constructors are always public because you would like people to instantate them. Now we're going to create a constructor that takes our 3 arguments here. Again, it's going to be public, has to be named car, and we need to add the arguments that it's going to take. So it's going to take a string, name it car brand, it's going to take another string, car model, it's going to take an integer for a number of doors. Now in order to demonstrate encapsulation, we need to take these here and assign them here. In order to do that, we'll start out with brand. So car is going to equal car brand. What that's doing is it's taking the value sent through the constructor and assigning it to the brand variable here, therefore demonstrating encapsulation. Now we're going to do the same for our other 2 variables. So model is going to be equal to car model, and num of doors is going to be equal to doors. Okay, now we have our constructors built. The next thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to create a simple method that's just going to display our car, just to make sure everything's working okay. So let's override the built-in toString method in Java. This is going to be a public method. It's going to return a string. And since we're overriding the built-in one, we will call it the same as the built-in one, which is toString. We're going to have it return all of the data from our objects. Now let's make it look a little neater. Right now everything's just going to be in one straight line. Let's give it some tags so it can show us exactly what we're looking at, and let's put new lines in it so it's neater. So we'll add brand, model, and doors. Next, we're going to create a main class. So again, we right click and go new class. So ensure that this checkbox is checked. We will call it main. In our main method, we're going to instantiate our class. So in order to instantiate the class or create an object of the class, we need to call it. So we'll call car, and we'll name it my car. Equals new. We need to use the new keyword in order to create a new instance of our class, car. And let's add some parameters. If you have a lengthy class with a bunch of parameters and you don't remember what they are, you can click here and it will list all the parameters for you. So first we'll enter brand. Our car was a Honda. The model was an Accord. And the doors were 4. Oh, sorry, the doors were 2. Now we want to write our car to the console just so we can have a look and make sure everything's working properly. So in order to do that, we'll do my car dot the built-in toString method that we overrode. And we're going to have to write that to the console. So we use system dot out dot println. Okay, now let's run this and see what it prints. Save everything. And there we have it. Brand, Honda, model, Accord, doors 2. The reason that it looks like this is we forgot to add new lines. Let's go back here and we'll add new lines. And let's copy this here so that way we can add it throughout. Okay, come back here, let's run it again. Save everything before we run it. And there we go. Now we have everything on a new line. So brand is Honda, model is Accord, and doors are 2. Okay, now we're going to go back to our class and add our accelerate method. Remember we said our car can accelerate? So that's basically what your methods are. Your methods are things that your object can do. We're going to come right down here and add an accelerate method. It's going to be public so we can use it. It's going to be a void method because it's not going to return anything. And we will call it accelerate. And all this method is going to do is it's going to increase the speed. So we need to have an actual speed member here. We'll make it private as well. Make it an integer. Call it speed. Let's just make it lowercase just to keep the same naming convention. And here we're going to do speed is equal to, well, let's do plus equal to because we want to accelerate. So we want to increase the speed every time that this method is called. So speed plus equals, what are we going to increase it by? Let's say 5. So every time someone calls the accelerate method, the car is going to go 5 miles per hour faster. Now we're going to go back over here and call the accelerate method. So we do my car. Accelerate. Save everything. Now let's go back over here and add to our toString method the speed of the car. Okay, now we'll go here and run it. Save everything. Run. And as you see, brand is Honda, model is Accord, doors are 2, and speed is now 5. If we call this accelerator method twice, speed will be 10. And there we go. Now we've looked at data members. We've seen how encapsulation works, where we assign these variables to the private variables here. We've created an accelerate method on how our car is going to go faster. And we've overridden the toString method to print out the details of our car. There's one more thing that I want to do. I want to create get and set methods. Get and set methods are exactly as they sound. They're used to get a value or set a value. So for example, if we didn't want to pass a value through the constructor, for example, speed, we're not passing it through the constructor, we can set speed through a get and set method or a property. They're also called properties. We can also change the value of something throughout our application by using a get or set property. Let's create one for speed. It needs to be a public method. We'll call it getSpeed. And this one is just going to return speed. So this would be the get method. This is if you want the value of speed somewhere in your program. You would use this. Next, we'll do the set method. Okay, so in the set method, we're going to actually set the value of speed. In order to do that, we have to take an argument or a parameter. It has to be an integer because speed is an integer. And let's call it set speed. And then we do speed is equal to set speed. Oops, I have an error here. Have an extra E in there. Okay, so now we can get and set speed from here without going through a constructor. Save everything. Come back here and let's set speed. Let's say initially our car is going 55 miles per hour. So we'll do my car.setSpeed and 65 miles per hour. Now we're calling the accelerate method here. So initially our car is going 65 miles per hour and we're accelerating 5 miles per hour each time we call our accelerator method. So it should produce 75 here. Okay, we'll save it. There we have it. So now what we've done, we've created our private data members, we've done encapsulation, we have done properties or get and set methods, and we have overridden the toString method, and we have created an acceleration method for our car. So that's going to conclude my tutorial for today. If you have any questions, please do so in the comments section. I hope you've enjoyed it. Also, before we leave, we did not actually use the get method. If you'd like, you can go ahead and use that. It'll give you some practice. And like I said earlier, go ahead and analyze things in your everyday life in order to get more practice with creating objects. Thank you for watching.